bodo glim tete tu ni nyina enye easy na ene debutant for no maba no almost what din say wele. Can you imagine say Pafos 10 against 11 me pe 2 goals was a game no man I say yin shell Olympiacos ibo home no shama me na me di bet Pafos for at the 10 against 11 I'm telling you game on boy no say 11 and commercial Olympiacos am kofoni ni bob brutal 0-0 na sa game no end e ho no ma enya asem keto akra e ho no nti these are the games enra etumi ye den etuto dwa ye de ho asem e de ebrel e ho no no the big game no e Chelsea de no ye bewram den ankoye den ekoye Bayern Munich for no omo discipline Chelsea omo ma Chelsea for so ye shepa na ucha eye 3-1 na was it a true reflection of the game den pa ana ankoso ye anvama eye Chelsea na den ekoso ye de ma eye company and any team no Enzo Maresca kasa say because of that game winti Chelsea will build a very solid team enya sam keto akra den ti na ema okasa ye be hwe sansem ni mu na mfe bibia so etimi akoye shanu say next games ebe koso matches ni bi beto todwa enya sam keto akra Barcelona omo akora weso na video bi a me hu in the chese wachi baby girl bi gina soro na mia girl no omo hwehwe na me na bebobo na akwani gina bansuru bi so mia oba la me yama no etienei aje se Femi Lopez mo na o so omo ba no bebo ombe ye adwuma no ewo eye St James Park ene ebitu roll enya sam keto akra the St James Park Stadium no ene emu be de pop ewo no ma enye asam keto akra on games awodo na so ebe koso hye so games awodo na be koso Club Brugge ebe trevin no ni Monaco e de abo ni Copenhagen ene ba Leverkusen saso ena eye Eintracht Frankfurt ene Galatasaray bobo ene nti o so bia etumi ehwe bi na bibia etumi koye Manchester City be trevin no ni Napoli we so eye big match pa no so yedi mu nchiremu ni bebrao Newcastle United ene eye Barcelona ena Sporting CP ana Kirat Amati na wo hwe de debutant for no ye na Kirat Amati for no wo se metumi ye den e che omu goals be 3 na me call machi because omo ba ni nya debutant for no nyina bienu wo lusu ye Karaba crowd no ko Bob Benfica ni so kra e de man no ana ndo ayi for no Pafos for no etumi e ye da e ball draw 10 against 11 no mo de kwa away ko ball draw ntiene we su be ko omama tese sport sika fia bi tese manum ti krata mati no wo hwe oyi bookmakers ne score dia mom na 29 cities ana ahaso 21 cities utimi say yes I was see to me you ya na bibia so na dia etumi koye hye no se show no live wo uko YouTuber MYBET.AFRICA TV MYBET.AFRICA TV MYBET.AFRICA TV ana Facebook no MYBET na what intemu kakra na wo bomodian na wotumi de Africa na den atoa so na bibia so no etumi ayeden akoye honom nti hye so pa hye so bebre efamayen na bibia so no yeden enkoye honom okọ street to watching so streaming show no live honom na ABN Radio 1 and so streaming show no live online radio near MYBET online radio saso and na okopiem a TikTok na sports.arena.news and na okopiem so a MYBET retail shops ni nyina je daso pampe a enya sam keto akranti ye nche ye beko MYBET education no na yefiri ho a na ya ba bewura yense money man yanhwe MYBET education na atiefo be hye no se nenso ye betoto nam ene ye betoto nam ene DJ di nantwie be miensaba o se Barca match no ne Newcastle match no wow be ba his Mr Studio ahonjo 104.3 ana ahonjo 124 enya asem ketu akra wo de wusi ma be a ka se wo koma be wusi wo ho no ma bu se presby asoro dan wa wudu abo se high hwam unam street nso wo ba wo se hwa hwam ube say ya paint ya black ne ade ya black gate e wo left sa enti sa na tie bra na be bi we ya Barcelona fan na bra na be bi because na mo be hye na mo be hye o enti bra na be bi na bibia so no enye de enkoye e ho no enti sa na tie money man yen hwe MYBET education na afi de aka na nyina no yen fan to aso.
Okay. See, if you're MYBET education, they are MYBET.AFRICA, and I show you also I say I'm show net me about so and they will share a phone so monitor BBA will share so a program. Now the back one mechanism MYBET and the #1 betting platform and they will be debate a hot and I'll be debate Champions League BBA a koyi on MYBET.AFRICA odds ni muedu bet builder no mo de ma aka bonus ni so muedu uyu o masan ye bet fit o mo ma hye bet asan de amount ko join ni MYBET ebusuano ko www.mybet.africa e wo browser mu top right corner be hu icon bia circle ni green mi aso ube hu login ni register unya register ya mi register ne so three simple steps now so to be register on MYBET.AFRICA platform. The first one phone number the audio mobile money transactions any udi bet na obetimi yi ni bokwa aba betu phone so the next one your username obetimi afedin bia pe no abo ahim na afede wa call the next one password bon password any confirm password ni na ya de ba ko ubo password na ubo san hye ho a afede bibia beto yi ama na wa bo register ne so on be send verification code na so verify aba be kama MYBET ebusuanom. Say Tuesday Champions League anko yi ama Wednesday anko yi ama and Thursday matches wo into MYBET.AFRICA bet builder option 6 games ubetimi nya up to 60 selections in a film into quite way so quite bia so betimi afiscal MYBET.AFRICA aka bonus ni so muedu up to 1500% into hihye no na bonus ni mu yedu ene bra MYBET.AFRICA na register na so fiscal emuedu e wo mo platform ni so
na so fiscal emuedu e wo platform ni so na bibia so ne de enkoye e ho nom yansha Andra games no you be discuss Chelsea then last so yansha other matches no Paris Saint-Germain even without Desire do any Abrante friend Osman Dembele they are flying almost fly almost picky almost can who say last season almost struggle a good face this year almost 30 year pa and afi other matches near the other so mummy shame kakaka.
Okay, yen starting free ayas ni Inter Milan. I think we have big games now na so and then no see one big game because these are two Champions League winners. Omu normal but Champions League ni bia bo mo modern home. Now on this game Indra Meka say ayas a team bia we hwe ni home form coming down to Indra game omo boy no pe team about games on the home wa she goals pa ayas. The minimum obehye 82 obogo se wo fie ba Indra Inter Milan ma yeti ase say Champions League started this new league phase no upe team last season during the group phase ni 8 games or consider just 1 goal and no man who say Inter Milan coming into this game defensively they are very solid. Inter Milan a team bia obiemu se one wo body abetimi ahye no but oye na dwen send there or can it na dwom na wa attack wa or the set pieces or the corners ni nyama and betimi take advantage. Uhwe game na it ended in a 2-0 win for Inter Milan but our statistics are uyi shot any shot on target at a bad game numa everything on the day I say to me dominating game no that shows the typical Inter Milan because or no about into game or ball on the counter or you should set pieces and you unlock your defense and draw with ball possession even expected goals on the night na ayas LED the charter Inter Milan modern bono equal enemy and I think say going into the Champions League say enemy Inter Milan they will dominate in the group phase because a band says a home and away game now onu hunhia and twaso mienu na ebo mu yie papa because omo prepare especially for away games omo kwa away a omo kwa kwhwe omo goal back omo kwa kwhwe omo goal mienu no make clean sheet oba home a wato the same thing so eno enendro hu say Inter Milan e dine di ye Paris Saint-Germain ni Atlanta I think Indra Meka say Atlanta team no though say during the weekend ko ball leche 4-1 na chese goals wo mu team no but Paris Saint-Germain team Indra the likes of Desire Day any Ousmane Dembele woman kebia Atlanta betimi di be 7 and 6 goals because Indra omunya penalty abrakula krasa ambo say no eno na ma game ne end at the 4-0 ohwe Paris Saint-Germain na omu jani ndum ye yinim say FIFA Club World Cup after sa Chelsea defeat no coming into the Liga no first 2 games omu ntimi she goals but this is a team the moment abibia be click omu betimi abo on the top gear and I think that omu nya pre-season So in the league, in the starting league, with that 1 or 2 goals, now team ne picky. Now Indra adeba akwa. I told you, me can has a quine beer, so be a bit me see. Luis Enrique. Louis means a virus, the better so amaya. Indra starting of the game, the first half. Now Luis Enrique ete press box no more raw. Now, idea way what can say this season, the first half biano. Obekwa kwatina press box no. Adentia wa pick that strategy if you are rugby football. Saying no more no more coaches no was so. No match game no. Omu from the tactical view who pitch ni so nina, who ni players ni nina, who bibia. Saying say ojina hono. Ni huni be different from sitting and looking at it from a wider view. Until I na dream say every first half of games omu be bono. Obekwa kwatina ho. No on any touchline for any dim komo. Maybe a player way the way or any run the way or you say no. Ni ninja hun to omuntu to omunyama yi say na bia betimi akoyi. Then the second half we move ye free haba. Na afi do be wie game ne free on ndra odani di hu red arrow na eda Luis Enrique hu out tia mic shena we headphone shena so a oni ne nkofo ne kasa ewechi. Na uhwe the game they dominated the game. Enye say Omunya easy goals from the Atlanta. They dominated the game from minute 1 down to the last minute. And Indra Osha, on any good day, if they had their key players in the setup, in Atlanta, and it's a big example for this Atlanta team. Those a coach Odiomanunum. He's new to this Champions League. Coach Odiomanun yenim say a ban tactics are very good. But a ban say going to bigger stages like this Obe finding it very difficult, and they need to make sure say their remaining games are more than now at least that point on the qualify and on call against Club Brugge, on a Slava Praha bebo, on a Marseille bebo, now on a Frankfurt abo, now Fidi Wababi with Chelsea. So to share Atlanta games now kana. So mutimi picky ya a bit me abom. The difficult game would be maybe at home at Chelsea. At home to Chelsea and the big game at home. But Osha, this is the stepping stone. And mom say, nee, playing against the champions, you can go down by 4 goals. Games na kano. SC share near to 2 year nyama ye. Yan share other games beats Liverpool and Atletico Madrid. Now Indra Alexander Isaac 8 million first start. Now coach I friend and slot eka say game no Isaac best started. But onya that full 90 and now wakwa chai within the 60th minute. Indra Osha on the day Liverpool started game no very brilliant. And I think say the way Liverpool started game no obia no Osha game no because hey the way I game equal Liverpool beat me a 10. Because in the first 5 minutes now Liverpool about 2 goals. One from Mohamed Salah and one of a deflection from your friend Robertson. Omutiminya that 2 early goals. But Simeone in Brandt no. Adeba akwa minijum but in Liverpool lineup no Indra was the first time Liverpool parody a lineup without no English player and Osha their lineup from Alisson with Jeremy Frimpong, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Mohamed Salah, Florian Wirtz, Cody Gakpo, any Alexander Arnold parody team with no English player in their team. This is the first time Liverpool is, and I think they're going forward. You be who line up like this because Obibebe Moa maybe Kekes Beba Beyi, that is Robertson, then maybe the likes of Szoboszlai, any McAllister, Mo Ebersissan Rose, then maybe Hugo Ekitike, any Alexander Isak. So from now onwards, you be who a Liverpool team without no Englishman for a while, and usher into the game. And I can say Liverpool and slot ball no bono. Or na dream so obie mu ne waba ubenya goals ni bia hye but quality na ekuto am as a team no kwan bia so no kwan on be fa so grind that last minute results no be grind virus the best to and Liverpool this season 4 games on mabo 4 games no mabo no say ubie ni yie pa hye against Bournemouth Mohamed Salah share 94th minute and omudi win game no against Newcastle Imgamoa share that is almost 100 minutes. Remember, I said 90 plus 10. And the winning game no against Burnley. Last minute penalty, Mohamed Salah 90 plus 5. Then draw against Atletico Madrid and also 90 plus 2. And slot ball no about this season. One thing I'm steady on the team compared to last season. Last season, and slot no defensively solid. Ebani say you go into games. So here last season, Liverpool games on board in the Champions League phase, even in the league games, no. Now more of okay, Liverpool she two pe, no ye Gravenberg, no the Endo Aba, no me we ye den won't mean to go, no more the upon. But this season, because of attackers are winning on the team, or pursue BM no multi goals. And Untina getting that 2 goals in the early stage, because me can say Liverpool in the Champions League, up a team first half. Obetimi Ashen go on. So getting that 2 goals, but the way Simeone Brandt anything buy into the game, because the show say yes, this is the Champions League. Upe team Champions League, no one every season out. We the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, no beba. We are both Champions League now, but not anything. Into gaining every experience we obenya on the Champions League ground. And at Anfield, then we a ground be away ni GO. To share a player like Llorente, was share 7 Champions League goals. A move for a PO Anfield. A chess of Anfield now, Niniju Ewo ba. And the sad part is that Simeone getting that red card. And him say Simeone the Ebano being on the touchline or a very animated. And our fans, with pressure in Yaman Emma Nitiminya, that is the red card. But I think on the Liverpool side, there were a whole lot of conversations. Alexander Isak, Obetimi buy into the game. It's me and my Liverpool adium here, and I think he gave a decent performance for me on the night. And I think they're going forward with match fitness and getting to understand the play and pattern of the Liverpool team. No, Obetimi abon homodin Indra. The surprising result, Bordeaux Glimt, Emami, Listo, because we have Bordeaux Glimt game on Mubondra. First half. The game was just a normal game for both teams. Kopim says Slava Praha a boss I go on tumo. Now go on the no they make sure say the game never go into the first half, no more buy into the second half. About bed on person me and draw that's our game no. Me bet am she share ne wo 1.5. In the first half me share game, me share game ne kwa na say into mo be share go ni. The game went on, and a Bordeaux Glimt ebenya that crucial penalty or the say no. But one thing I must say about Bordeaux Glimt in any European competition is every time you make away na your bread. Because of their home pitch, senior tier no, AstroTurf. Into a call away to natural grass and maybe a hybrid or finding it very difficult to be able to play or also try to compete with some of the big teams. But so onya wo fear AS Roma mo, the likes of Tottenham Hotspur mo, Man United mbeka cho say on home ground or no. So they were trying to make sure that this season in the Champions League, some of the strategy we be going into the Champions League away games, that's something we can draw. Then that home games are teams in very difficult to play, no. Almost betimenya. Now with the Slava Praha team, no. Omo player be a friend or Ivorian, a friend in Mbojia, or buy into the game, making sure say
he is the player on the first champion.
The first starting for the team.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first only player I found they replace the current left back for West Ham.
Okay.
Yes.
Without Senegalese. Yes.
Yeah.
And in draw or my coach in any year, which said the time of the second goal in 2 no. Coach ni celebrating poaching player no partners because I to say Opese would you be kobo on the first Champions League day, the first start. How would he perform? A bit more on the first start. Ebi anu akoko see penalty, anu akoko she own goal, and a performance na ntimi anko enim, but getting that 2 goals, ade back we bomb. But I think say Slava Praha for ni nya that advantage say Bordeaux Glimt for ni hu ball ne so they will take advantage of it, do 1 or 2 changes, and I'll make sure the game ni betimi end in a 2-0. But this Champions League listo, ade back we hu ni say the newly promoted and our new teams on joining no. On my dreams a competition no. I send your mind the 8 teams never bomb into every time biano. Every game is a final for them. You home from Guy back, in dry you home from Paphos, and you home for Bordeaux Glimt. So I wouldn't be surprised we will see some of the in quote the smaller teams trying to give the big teams a fight for their money. And in dry you home are Bordeaux Glimt here, and it was a good performance. With Olympiacos any Paphos any kind. It was one game a stretch here. Olympiacos playing at home, they mostly get a goal. In all their fixtures, Olympiacos, the last time we bought 0-0, mean to me Bunkai, and the show say Paphos went into the game well prepared. Now defensively, they had experience in player friend David Lewis, even though a picky injury, but Utimu said they were a bit solid at the back for me, and that is one thing. They have big games to play. only the likes of Bayern Munich mubebo, only the likes of Juventus mubebo. So to me, picking this momentum from now, they can go into those big games and perform so well. At least so on to me, maybe a qualification in Pono to mean a positioner. It can be a good motivation for them. Say next season Champions League, yes, I'm going to improve the team. So Indra, the Champions League games, of course, and I think say this was some of the exciting games. Some of the big teams, say yes, they are coming into the Champions League and putting up their results. Ebi munso into me results, and I think with the Chelsea, anybody mini game, never pass on your baby cheche mu send nyama into me and koi.
Okay, yeah, sure,
yeah. At least to mommy, you mean charity for now. For native for I think and now you're witnessing a very good game throughout all the venues boy. But I think this is your debutant and make history, especially in the Champions League. Maybe Benedict Dewey, which is Paphos. Paphos from I think they are the youngest team in the UEFA Champions League this season. They are just 11 years old, and it's a team in 2014 who call a year. Cyprus are two teams, and then they say, oh, just like what about Canada has to focus in the Olympics. Near my so let's combine this team to make it one team. So the team names AEK Kuklea and AEK Paphos and more joining year. So the team is just 11 years old, and throughout they also almost story now more identical like Chelsea. Even before Roman Abramovich for Chelsea. At that time, Chelsea had GJ some FA Cups, and League Cups, and even the Super Cup, and some European Cup winners cup before Roman Abramovich for. But then they also have a Russian billionaire called Roman Dubiov. Oko joined just 2017. At least to Oko, a lot of investments, and paying a year. There are a lot of English coaches from Stephen Presley, from Stephen Constantine, a lot of players about United, about Blackburn, from Celtic, and currently their coach, even Michel Salgado, former Real Madrid for right back, coach for 2 years. None of these coaches and lasted more than 2 years before they got the coach. They believe that Juan Carlos Casedo, Spanish international, and that coach, from United Emery days at PSG, United Emery Eba Arsenal, he was the first assistant coach to United Emery. And Oko joined them on the first season, that was last 2 seasons. They won the Cyprus Cup. Last season, then AJ Cup now, almost 8 years. So, I mean, it's a club that currently they have a businessman or person driving team to say how Roman Abramovich by Chelsea. And in fact, if you look at the team now, they brought in David Luiz, not as if say he's coming to be an exceptional player for them, but for market purpose, for them to get that name. And currently, if Obi about Pafosa, or more about David Luiz in. So watch how Omutimi qualify last minute goal. And the kind of teams Omusha United were traditional teams, especially in the Champions League qualifiers. So Omusha Klevna Vest, that is Red Star Belgrade, a lot of top teams in the qualifying a year. Last minute goal in the team. So another game was something that I believe that Olympiacos definitely they are one of the teams on about Champions League for several years. So it's going to be very difficult for Paphos to go to Olympiacos home to go and win. But I was expecting at least Olympiacos for the bit match a lot of goals. And Paphos from a team they are free scoring side. But yesterday they defended very well. For the first time in so many games, Omobo a 3-back system. And watch our last game Omobo and David Luiz hasn't been playing because also a court case, just like Thomas Partey. But only the man or Barbie say or threatening or Brazil. So from Cyprus to Brazil, always he's been going. So on Shedan is stable. But yesterday they played him as a back three. And they also be honest prior here coaches changes until when David Luiz prior they had to make 3 changes, especially in the first half. I brought about 32 minutes to change the system because it wasn't a system they are used to. So I think it is one of the upsets meaning the UEFA Champions League. Medican said the UEFA Champions League a lot of package nearby, the surprises, the history, and a lot of things nearby. So Paphos played their first ever game in the UEFA Champions League, and they managed to salvage a point away from home. I think it was a very good result for Paphos ne Fansa or more Cyprus. Then again, Yanko Anfield Listo. I think it was a very good game for Liverpool and man for but this season Liverpool, this is the 4th or 5th time I stand to be corrected. Liverpool are winning game last 10 minutes. They did that against Arsenal. And also against Newcastle. So Bournemouth then was Chiesa and Salah. They did that against Liverpool. They also did that against Burnley. That was the last penalty shootout. And then again, Omasansu will be against Atletico Madrid. And no game was a very good game. Probably some of us, you have an article for starting almost season, especially in the Spanish La Liga, on and off season. But then they came into the game and then Liverpool for the bomb. Although at the start, no one to me and stopping Liverpool positional play, Gravenberch caught into the half spaces. It me be that space for Salah to score that second goal now. It me boom. No Alexander Isak starting and the first start for Liverpool. The reception and how an link up play between Florian Wirtz in the middle third and even from the left side of attack was very exceptional. Although Oba second half about just 10 minutes no meaningful because of the fitness level, and Hugo Ekitike is somebody who has been with the team for a while, and the chemistry with Florian Wirtz, Cody Gakpo and all these other players are very good. But then one thing affected Liverpool was always Madikanka said, whether we like it or not, history and a lot of things accounting in football. Your players whether you like it or not, almost share a certain club, they will score them. I said Chicharito Hernandez or United even say 20 seconds and then Alex Ferguson the man Krana Chicharito Hernandez back game in pa or Babeshi go. There are a lot of players that almost share teams via a very good record. And then Llorente, after Liverpool going 2 up, then people that call early payouts, especially in that Liverpool game, bet me can't take that. But Llorente bet it is 2 goals. This is a player other than a Kramai at Anfield. So virus bet him the Llorente pitcher and then they coming out to swat. In 2020, before lockdown, you remember that season Chelsea Nigeria, the Champions League, and Tima Oyi Liverpool free mu a qualified coin was Atletico Madrid. Oyi Liverpool and Okokusha Chelsea, and a Chelsea in free mu. That day, and in 2020, Atletico Madrid share Liverpool. Metropolitano in Spain, Madrid, and almost share Madrid, almost share Liverpool 1. They came to Anfield. It is about betting the dag Liverpool article. Sa game no results no that to some. Then you will see that when they came to Anfield, Jorginho Wijnaldum share goals. Ebe ma tally near 1-1. So after making the tally 1-1, it means that they had to go into the extra time. And then again, 97 minutes, yes, results in. And Marcos Llorente, and then again Firmino Sansu Beshe. So Liverpool were also ahead, and they were almost square score no in the extra time. That is in the 94th minute, and then Llorente Beshe to score the game, and also scored another goal to square goals na Liverpool. Actually, saw 2 goals. So Liverpool Beshe 2 goals, one in the normal game time, and also another one almost 30 extra time now 4 minutes. And Firmino share Llorente Beshe 3 minutes after Firmino scoring, and Osansu Beshe and 6 minutes after no action goal. Then he even assisted Morata to score the last minute goal. Until after that game no, and an Ekramai or Tunidin Anfield, that he's a player that wako Anfield akwa torment a man for. And then again 5 years later, Atletico Madrid Aba Beshia Liverpool at Anfield, and that same player Listo, he scored 2 goals against Liverpool, and one of the venue I don't say Oba Neniji at Anfield, and he came and he scored. There were a lot of bragging rights coming to Anfield because they come and to Anfield. A lot of Liverpool fans were angry. And then again, Wasanso Abeshe 2 goals last minute corner header from Virgil van Dijk, and Liverpool esili that victory. So I think it was a very great return for Atletico Madrid for no. Llorente was just 7 goals in the UEFA Champions League. He moved 4 against Liverpool at Anfield. It tells you how he loves playing against Liverpool. I think Liverpool they are a team that or more fighting spirit. But then any other team, especially Arsenal, City, United, Chelsea, and other teams are only Liverpool. They know that now Liverpool, they have a lot of firepower up front. Cody Gakpo was go this season. Apart from players, 4 players only on attack, only Florian Wirtz and Enche go. But also, because early days yet. Isak Subayeno and no born the first game also Entimi Enche go. So with Liverpool team, no, you can clarify say they concede a lot of goals because of how mobile game no they attack all out, and if share teams that they are also very good at almost beat me concede goals, but when they want to defend and defend very well, they also a very good side. I'll beat my break so no Liverpool nya that needed victory and no almost 80 minutes. And then again I think say another game and no I told you I was Ajax ne Inter Milan game. Then me can say Ajax played their 500th UEFA Champions League game. I mean, whether you like it or not, Ajax are one of the best teams and are big teams as far as the Champions League is concerned. Imagine 4 times and a lot of history, a lot of players are in the limelight. So they were playing their 500th game in the UEFA Champions League against Inter Milan. Now, obviously, in recent times, Inter Milan are a big team. And even Eredivisie and how Ajax for a bomb game is not so convincing like Ajax almost squad na Eric Ten Hag Ekita. So definitely I knew it was going to be a very difficult game for them against Inter Milan. And Marcus Thuram about 2 goals was also announcing he's one player I think that he's so much underrated. He's a striker that can do everything you need from a modern striker. Otimi Rani behind, whether I saw on drop it, on for the goal, on ball long range, on flicky. Now on board 1-2 with Lautaro Martinez. He has been playing a 2-top with Lautaro Martinez. So every aspect you need from a modern striker, Marcus Thuram, and so it's me Emma Osaniam. And I think that maybe from the next summer transfer window, if Bayer Lusu Hurricane, if any other team Lusu or more top striker, he will be one of the strikers. Some of the other top clubs aside Inter Milan will also look at. And now PSG and Atlanta. I mean the champions of Europe, no more started more campaign, and always was going to be an easy game for them. Atlanta, a team, they've been consistent in the European front, although Omolusu Gianpiero Gasperini, Ademola Lookman, or your talisman last season hasn't been with the team because of personal pushing move, and now on the team relationship, so he's not been playing. So definitely was going to be a very difficult game for them. Although PSG were going into the game without Dembele, without Desiree Doué, who has been one of their top 2 attackers aside from Victor Kvaratskhelia. But then, if you are going into the game now, Bracola or Victor Kvaratskhelia, then you still have your 3-man midfield, the engine behind these players and with defenders, Pacho, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, and Marquinhos available. Definitely, you know, say you are going to win this game. So they didn't even miss the absence of Desiree Doué, any Abrante, and they added Ousmane Dembele. So always was going to be a very difficult game for Ajax, but a very easy one for PSG. And Omo announces Omo started campaign on very good notice, and Omo started say they are willing to regain Omo title Omo last year.
Okay, right. It's a Chelsea game now, and Chelsea went into the game with a lot of confidence. Yes, Chelsea supporters were very confident that they will go and do something. Some could demonstrate said they are a very good side, especially after beating Paris Saint-Germain, the European champions. Now, Chelsea supporters do not have confidence. Me particularly, I wanted to see how this team will fare in Europe. Of course, the club World Cup issue is tactically the coach is very good, but then you see club World Cup the difference is that time now team ball they were in terms of fitness level BBR was up there. What I said normal game in BBR the final they were they were up there, which means in terms of fitness, not be BI okay. What I said, and they've gone through games. Now, I'm experimenting a lot of things. I'm facing defeat against Flamengo. They give you coach, an insight. Say no, this is how my side, meeting the Premier League teams, different because Premier League teams you can predict them. Say Okobo make table team obesity deep. Into the only thing you do is you keep the ball, try to create overloads near the other. But when you are meeting an international team, especially in the Champions League, in the Club World Cup, where teams are almost top notch, almost continent, almost quality was so. Almost big clubs, they also want to express themselves. So after the Flamingo game, it changed everything for Chelsea, and it really even be the catalyst. Emma Chelsea to me they call all the way to the final, and all the year we go through they were able to learn, and it helped them to the last year final. Chelsea to me a J trophy. Is this how this year competition San Ebekwa na Enzo Maresca kasa ninsema all can say he has a feeling say they will learn a lot from this particular game, and learning from this particular game will mean say they will do well, and he said they are going to build a solid team. 3-1 now you might say I'm for Becca almost drill Chelsea almost Chelsea almost yesi, but Oshe game nipa it was a similar plan or they call Paris Saint-Germain. The same thing or they call Wadian. The difference is that the two chances now Kabema Chelsea confidence now abre a year Bayern Munich for National. Chelsea misses our two chances Nina follow them Enzo Fernandez. Nina follow my Enzo Fernandez. Then foul which was it's not a foul. That ball was not a foul. Or ball neso. And a referee then comic defending one other. So money my a game no dey see.
Yes, share game no my shots here in free, that is the lineup of both teams a parody. Now one thing we Bayern Munich side now, we're expecting this lineup with the likes of Laman, Will Pamecano, Ta, and also Stan Larsen, and also Kimmich, and now Olise. That was their key wire. No, go beat me at dominating game. No, then Harry Kane as usual. Anymore with the Chelsea lineup, I wasn't surprised with the Chelsea lineup. The only thing Andrea did come on was should Enzo Maresca put in Tosin or put in Fafana. That was the discussion here. And Andrea, I was thinking, say, Maresca should have gone in for Fafana in the game than Tosin. But so share the lineup. That was the same lineup against Paris Saint-Germain in the final. We, the likes of Levi Cole and Wipra Efrima, that is the lineup. But Bayern Munich playing at home in their opening Champions League game. So about 21. On Lusu Mubiaye on board draw. In Tindra Mekan say Chelsea best on the day bear draw. Chelsea best on the day bear draw. Yenra game no, I think say I'll start from the officiating. The officiating from Jose Sanchez was very poor for me, especially taking decisions. Oshe Harry Kane penalty here by it took someone from the VAR room to make him know say boy a penalty, and he couldn't even whistle. Kopim said that message ne buy answer no whistle say okoje. And if we know say anytime there's a communication from VAR to the referee, it's either there is a pause for the referee to go and check and see say ball no a penalty and any penalty. And sana why then were taking decisions. And apart from that, there were several decisions that Olise pushed to Cucurella was a yellow card on any day. He had nothing to do with the ball. Ne yellow card by referee no overlook here. There were several decisions. There were times obebon whistle no so chini ni kami hunde na no, and it affected the game some way. Osha Enzo Maresca plan on the bar into the game was perfect. In draw, so Osha game from the view, maybe from a tactical eye, two coaches they were playing like a chess football, like a chess game. And obi anim de ni opponent ni betimi aye. Inti se wonim de obetimi aye a ese wa smart no. Maresca try with the long balls to Malo Gusto because when him say Luis Diaz tracking back no ebe very difficult amano. So we use Malo Gusto side. But I was thinking that the best approach was to use the left side of the attack for Chelsea. Either bringing in maybe Garnacho or Gittins to occupy that role. Bema Lehman a lot of pressure because Oshe Bayern Munich the way almost set up attack. Olise better touch with no. Then Lehman Beba Beboti said that have space number 10. No. So every time their left back position, no, that place is empty. Into say Oma Pedro Neto Enzo track back, meaning say you are giving them the chance for Upamecano to open, then Kimmich be occupy and after that be 3 back among, and they will be very comfortable on the ball. But I think the Chelsea's movement of the ball was very good for me in the first 15 minutes. Maresca game near in the first 15 minutes. Senior kind was similar to the Paris Saint-Germain game because Chelsea that early goal from Enzo Fernandez, that would have been the climax of the game. Chelsea be dominating from minute 1. Company will start panicking. He will start making a lot of tactical decisions with the game about affect him. But Bayern Munich getting the first goal, no, it switched. Now if there's a Maresca and the team to Nyamaye, and on the day, Tosin, Chaloba, I don't know, Chaloba and put the only excuse because he has been playing in the Champions League for many times. And that free kick the whole team were off. Osha, the person who went to tap Olise, Jao Pedro, he's a striker. Don't expect him to go maybe hard or go and tackle a winger. And
I think he did his best thing.
Yes,
a player supposed to do defensively, because you know, say player no, I am Ruby Monster Anibi or tries to the ban away no Akele. So what he did was that okay, I will force you to use your left leg,
the right to cross.
The right, yes, me force one on the call right side using your weaker foot. So the crossing no, Omudu was I can tell you say, so cross no yeah no. Who do you be to say be a Pedro Neto? Any other players use 9 back. Pedro Neto crossing with the right, you know. Or he does that with power and precision. But we know he only crossed the ball because that was the only option.
No.
Then the 2 players, and shockingly, you know what one point was.
The percent virus they 3 goals in na to so picture no of 3 goals in na. I think for the first goal, I would blame Tosin Chaloba and give some blame to Sanchez, even though say he performed so well on the night for me. And then Sanchez, Chelsea would have gone down by 4 goals or 5 goals. And Chaloba, the moment I bought part Tosin as a defender, Pacho Biemuka kana first one in bra Kesemam. As a defender, the first thing I'll be say, Obe check your shoulder. Say nay, why no wechi? If there isn't any Bayern Munich player behind you, you let the ball move.
Now he didn't see.
He didn't check. Osha, Rhys James was occupying the only Bayern Munich player no what chance to score.
You see,
Osha player a friend Upamecano, baby I know Ojina Chaloba echi. It will be difficult and Upamecano near that hurricane type of striker. Remember say be a box present to beat me about rim and maybe when baba on small about touch ball. No. So the best thing is manning him. And you could see Sanchez you could see that is Tosin. Now for the Chaloba ejina he went off and a born go to Joko shame.
No, but who are you blaming?
And I'm blaming one, all these Chelsea players. Sanchez 1, Tosin 2, and a Chaloba on this ball.
No, say all blaming Sanchez, you will not be fair. Because player was a stopping ball no one time was tossing. Because number one Banisu can we say Otuampa.
Yes.
The moment Otuampa no, we no all blocking Chaloba, he was only blocking a year. Upamecano. We're marking ye. The issue in say was a tossing clear ball one time.
Balisto.
One and quasi a drew. Because
I didn't see me the blame.
Kukarala, for instance, but now he was marking
Hurricane.
He was marking Hurricane, right? To whom say ball no. I feel now he was marking the angle. Almost the number 20 Pedro Neto. A closest our angle no. And on yes over the first pool. Tossing Tiampine.
But Sanchez positioning image frame with him.
There you see when on a born we now so.
Unim, this
was
the time and I born a trim. Yes, came with a deflection. He wanted to move and now Sheso beat me and save ball. But your name him say the shot across no as a goalkeeper, you protect your first post and you watch ball nearby. No. Sanchez could have equally go down to take the ball.
Oh, come
cross,
on.
when
Yeah, possible. Come on, wait dear.
No
Yeah,
cross.
possible.
Who guide the principles of goalkeeping?
Yes.
Who guide the first ball?
Yes.
You cannot go in this
Yeah.
situation. Online a bit in that save. In principles of goalkeeping.
And as I can
Yes,
see,
you can form fire and Sanchez.
Tossing ni won
anya ball no.
But
Tossing ni wa.
Na more of like outswing.
That is the tossing ni wa.
Ball we free basi. Ball if you say. I was say I should be able to at least touch the ball.
And I make
the moment a ball ni be fami mu. About we hono. The possibility say ball na she on goal.
High, yes.
Because born wo number 20 name a key player no Kukurela so aba but just say he was not in normal sense and yes Kukurela mark cutbacker aka also no moment aka also here then or first line
set piece nisa the way a ball referee know and the way they move the ball fast
what the man late
Kukurela, yes,
but there was tossing on full control of the ball and yes say be a ball no he full control of the ball.
And you see, we mean sure say Kukurela elite. Me will picture boy and camera say contribute between that too. So you see, this now you defend this set piece. So whether you defend this set piece or you striker, on since now move be makeshift right back. Say about be defender, Kukurela is one of the players are aerial. You good or Chelsea. So Kukurela as a left back, Obeko inside about the center backs. Then either one of the midfielders or the strikers, back as a makeshift right full back. So in this situation, it was Joao Pedro
yeah,
who was always at the last line. Say ball no call wider. Or never who defend on that.
And
so,
he did so well.
Yes. So Kukurela position and Joao Pedro position. Although Cavaro betting back on about Kukurela there no, Joao Pedro very late because they didn't anticipate. So when
but on only put the Okoye.
Yes, he did very well. Yes.
Forcing him to go and cross.
Virus of first one.
Any
first one. But
Yo.
time only senior ball.
Yo.
And space woman. Very close.
Hey.
no, I knew it.
Tossing.
My highlight here
was so brutal.
And it was the sequence before Olise Edeba Benye, you know. Into what here? Omo ye no referee ye sabo ne dead ball. Obo free kick na ball referee one sense one fan to hold referee the ball ne pim ho. So that was when almost shifted on attack. Yes. So what was the gap between Joao Pedro and Olise?
Yes.
And Olise wanted to cross the ball and ball said not Chelsea line here very high.
Yes.
So he wanted to dribble because who say Joao Pedro and Kukurela way I can go past him simple. And on the far one and the ordinary weaker foot no.
Yes.
Cross.
I said I can tell you it was perfect. So I call Chimba.
Yes.
Joao Pedro Jebo no. Now that is the principle of defending. So
1v1. Look at where Sanchez wants. What mean blame Sanchez? The moment a board remember says Sanchez be bad the
near post. Yes.
And he was there. And you see
at that moment. So I didn't say
me blame Sanchez. The way I bought the buy, Sanchez believed say
when the second goal.
Sanchez believed say Tosin beat me a clear ball one time. Their days are inka as a goalkeeper beat me a team player no, then he comes for the ball. But onu believe he said Tosin with the experience Okutano.
Because
and I think
the goalkeeper. You have your two center backs, you have your left back, and even one of your midfielders in front of you. So definitely you expect them to
clear ball.
Amount.
Where there Chaloba there, he was out because see bonus are 3 players
and with him no block you
and now he was blocking Upamecano say in case say a pa omu nyina ho a and a pa omu nyina ho a kire say e be fa Tosin anim afa Sanchez anim akọ the last post na enu edu ho no ma ayi wo ho no Rich James wo ho no ma be clear to corner what I say he was basically saying a player na ma me tap in na wo na ball no aba wo so no ne nine ka ball no anyhow pa aka Sanchez be che ball no second ball no e ball ne nine po na anko yie and clear send also Anka Sanchez betchable because na Sanchez were very close to him Anka bibi Anka baby Anka it say Anka onumpo na Anka eti afaso amakoye ongo a Sanchez would have saved the situation or tiampan
and I think that Tosin na Indra na ade ene wo mitirim ni say I don't know at the age of 27 meaning say uncle no mo friend no na say amana bo akokra wo say den because wo hwe Thiago Silva at 35 defending basics no or any simple and young bra into the second goal Osha second goal now, it was more of another defensive error. The way you pese ye way, you timi yi ball ni free echi. And yes idea we are on any day against any team or any doing so be dominate. Team ni be punish you.
You be a wage na. Tossing.
And Tabo no started free Tosin and the ball ni ma Sanchez. And a Sanchez returning ma Tosin. And the copy Cucurella ho. The born copy Cucurella ho, not Olisa Closino. So the best option to now find one of the middle players or back to Tosin. But over here Chino, Tosin abe occupy that middle baby or Jinayabium. So the ball would be lost. And a Hurricane take advantage of it. And I think I don't know if they were panicking because it was a Champions League night at a stadium like this. Caicedo wasn't at his best. Caicedo wasn't at his best. Tosin, Chalobah, they weren't at their best. To me, another Chelsea player made a big blame in this game was Enzo Fernandez. And going into Chelsea games, starting from the season, I think now Enzo Fernandez is checking more of a start merchant. Or chasing stats more than the actual Enzo Fernandez and him coming from the World Cup. And Obi or Chelsea Fulham game, there were times at the bench, Edu baby put on the bench literally because or Okoshe go ni na afidie or kasa. In the first half after the Fulham game, or run the captain handband need them say Omonje. And I don't know if the idea was not to play again or not. And in a game as an attacking player or even as a middle fielded player, Joshua Kimmich in the middle.
But you see, who blaming player for the coach playing him at a positioner? Because definitely in this game he was playing as a number 10. So
he wasn't playing as a number 10.
Enzo Fernandez back Chelsea the first 2 seasons. No, they make also a team as two midfielders on number 1. It wasn't
Enzo is not playing as a number. We've seen Enzo playing as a number 10 in literally all Chelsea's games.
Who make you reference to the World Cup? And I made sure at that time he was playing more of a deeper role. And not sure
make us say playing at the World Cup
so
and then the position I make. Then be make us formations and positions are just being something that the two people say. But the tactics are coaching the amount as a player. Last season, I didn't make us say he has turned into like a start merchant. We've seen Enzo Fernandez arriving in the box very well. Last season against Aston Villa, against Liverpool, against some of the big teams, Otimi arrived she goes no. And I think it has gotten to the time Enzo Maresca she player no. His energy level is though say Odibo echi gidi, but his energy level, his tackling way is very poor. In about two long balls, but Akumpa and Koduni player.
But you shouldn't expect a player playing ahead of
he
playing long balls.
Me person me breaking Enzo Fernandez win. Me person will be defending.
I'm not defending, but me sure say how a person assessing from a deeper role
me assessing it based on other players on the pitch.
Kimmich now can always, he was in between the centre backs. What are you talking about?
What stops him from starting the game?
Is the coach? Are you coach? Metro say Jensen. Oh, boy, as a number 10.
Sir, I deal with me who say Chelsea supporters too much. Say Sanchez, Bonia, your players do mistakes. More call you out. Say why you mistake? You won't we mistaken and I share.
Yes.
Your players do mistakes. We find a way to scapegoat certain players. And I don't know. Name what Chelsea fans are looking. And I say what Chelsea fans want from Enzo Fernandez.
Okay.
The ruler Andre the man was to arrive in the box, and he did that.
Okay.
And I feel say look, Sanko to me, first born now, where the man
first chance.
O placing one time and Koshe, meba.
Obi am blame
meba, Koshe. Oshe yanka best game no. So in that regard, say blaming is as a big player. So big game like this, first goal is crucial, especially with team na a young team. So the only thing I've ever team confidence, scoring first goal.
Yes.
Now I feel I had the amount of confidence now where they win here. It go now one share no contribute here. Emma Chelsea consider here no, panic here, and we all who say panic here. Open more experience. About to the highest level.
Enzo Fernandez.
Almost in terms of say ball no, to me a pass ye, a crab ball ye, a Cucurella.
Okay.
But Endra, the second goal, it was on him. Look, he could have played the ball to touch. Or Shana, as a whole body a sharp opponent, not about to throw. No one will be able because there was no option. Yet, your J-Bone here, the defense were all over the place. After Chelsea conceded first goal, the first 20 minutes, it showed the plan and that coach in the game, and it was superb. Chelsea to me creating chances. I saw me say number how many for no they were panicking.
Yes.
80 sir. Bo we no a tornado mu na and a 15 minutes na here a panic here. They couldn't recover, and the penalty also came. We Cucurella and say born here you cock tackle here. What I say, and I think say the rush tackle no, now it was needless. I said, but Obelevi say he's a good tackler, so he was so caught
that boy if Tosi and Chaluba and Kobenya born
because we in 9 minutes. But you see, the American say at this stage, wakwa koyewe say o ka say Obelevi pa how the or say born and how tackle or there because he was closer to Hurricane. He could have allowed Hurricane to use the left to play the ball. That is standing on the right. Because there was a player there. No, so a closing. So give the goalkeeper a chance and we throw in the tackle. It is the second goal now. Obviously, you can mention players are obey. Then the third goal, you name them of course.
Yes.
If you call them out like that, it is better. See, say you catch your say, Branebe way. My bet education. Only say what prepare for my bet education. Now Obani the science work be do as and no be education. Now we try say person we na say anko ya. You don't expect us. And I say you don't look how do you miss a ball like this? How?
Wait the
how? Now Ukwa Enzo Fernandez D.
I didn't tell me Enzo Fernandez D is a list over. Senior kind we should be if the players are not performing, we should call them out. Senior, I would call out Tosin, I'll call out Chaluba for being poor in games. That is the same way if a player, Senior can, we're brought to the highest level, to the Champions League. We're brought Champions League, we're brought to the World Cup final. We're brought FIFA Club World Cup final. And their games are, we want big players, big names to take the center stage. Indra Kopama, he took the center stage. After 2-0, he felt okay, Mami Jibo, Mami movie, and person movie. I didn't tell me Boni Junior. He played as a number 10 on the day. Senior Ineka said he wasn't his preferred position. Yes.
In a preferred position at what board this season.
But the Mbezi said it wasn't his preferred position.
No, Ebanisana question we are expecting say you be a different role. Now coach say Ohuna as an attacking midfielder. So that is where he's going to play.
Because
so
his final third passes are one of the best. The case will be a bit me finding players with the ball. In the Chelsea setup, we maybe Kopama, we maybe Esteval. He will be one of the players that you mentioned. But going into the game, Uberhen a starter, it doesn't match the performance and he say Benefi Enzo Fernandez. Meaning on the night he wasn't that good. And Ubehu a lot of Chelsea fans are now blaming Enzo Maresca. Based on say
of course, yes. Of course, because you needed an aggressive defender in Endra match. You needed somebody or aggressive or to me the but yes
Tosin they were on the night Enzo Fernandez unya 34 touches in the game. Ne touches in the opponent box were 3. Ne passes into the final third were 2. In the first 20 minutes time at Chelsea dominated game. This was the time when most of this parties in the final third. Yes. In Tebedu baby, things were off. I was expecting him as the assistant captain, rally the boys and let's go. But this is a game. Chelsea were being played out by a quality team. And now it brings my question to say, Chelsea squad they are going to the Champions League this season. Chelsea squad they are going to the Premier League this season. I think there are some question marks on it. Last season, I think the quality has dropped in some preferred positions.
Where position Ben are dropping?
And one game. We need to look at something from afar. and one game per. Say any say one game per. It will reach some extent. Senior kind Chaloba any Tosin. Chelsea could have added another centre back on any day.
And they didn't.
Yes.
So you don't blame the manager. You don't blame
I'm not blaming. That's when I make us say we shouldn't blame the manager.
Okay.
We shouldn't blame the manager. Tactically, everything worked out well. In the first 15 seconds, if Chelsea had the earlier goal, Chelsea would have dominated the game. And they were still dominating the game, even though after 1-2 misses nearby. You know, it shows how quality the manager went into the game. But it was errors. Three goals from errors.
There, Charlie.
So I don't want people to be blaming me. Obi or Maresca blame me. Say be anyama nkoye me. I'll come and sit here and tell Maresca ebi ade na nkoye. But this game I wouldn't blame. We Tosin go a Hurricane share. This season Chelsea are conceding 3 goals from this same angle. Tosin be kwa chia ne ho na ball na fa ni 19. And Sanchez will always be complaining. And the way I want trying to make your body big by bending down. Born the bed there, before 19. Against Fulham, something similar happened. Against Brentford, ABC, and then Indra against Bayern Munich.
The best record. But I could be almost bomber and also cover opponent.
So this is something as a Maresca Timishe.
Okay.
But I think that is a good step for him. Send your car, you know. And I know that Maresca will be he picks a lot of positives from games we lose. And I'm looking at the Chelsea next game against Benfica, a crucial game with Jose Mourinho returning back to the Stamford Bridge. International to me prove a point. They'll go into the Man United game later. Or China, Yababa break down on also that.
Yeah, Listo, I mean, starting game, you know, so virus beats me the Athletic for a headliner or more after this game in the so I see say Bayern won the game with so much experience. Because one say you can say if you nya that elegona, so we mean that we are talking about momentum, we are talking about movements.
Yeah.
And football no, the moment ubenya movement went to me and taking no. Anybody over experience. Chelsea won the 2012 World Champions League against this side because of experience. Going down in the 80th minutes, unya corner wash it. It was that moment and experience of the year. This was ahead in Athletic for a year and pay. After the game, I'm say Bayern Munich 860, Chelsea 117. It talks about the number of players that 23-man squad at Chelsea they call Munich. Number of Champions League appearances at least and they 117. And Bayern Munich players they were available at that night, even including Nicolas Jackson, who made his first appearance and Rano. Omungina was 860. So it tells you that and Chelsea team list who players are making more appearance in the Champions League. Jimmy Gittins, any Regents. Oma makani na 6, 7, 2, 3 appearances. Chaluba appearances in 10. So we went into the game, say, oh, we are a young squad. Chelsea Shishitima, at least they beat me picking something positive from that game. But then virus on far the first graph about pitch, UEFA Champions League match day 1 Bayern versus White Park there no. On for back to so how Bayern for pressing Chelsea and Chelsea so pressing Bayern Munich when they had the ball. To me, I think say Bayern for list and I apart from maybe how I'm pressing Chelsea when they are with the ball. Total football they watch Johan Cruyff and even movies talking about the possessive and positional play and no Bayern for years so much and any other affected Chelsea. In general, how Chelsea for pressing PSG in that man-to-man press marking, Chelsea find it very difficult because anytime you Hurricane, ever drop it deep, you will either see Tosin Adarabioyo and now Chaloba going with him. There are several instances. In the Severus here, Severus put the video no. Then after that now they playing White Park that also on me. And now we finding it very difficult. Chelsea find it very difficult to press and man mark Madrid for no. Bayern for no. Let's watch this video. Whenever they had the ball, they have a 3 base that is Kimmich dropping behind Jonathan Tah. Any Opemecano and I even second half of Mundu Mobile. Yes, say at the Chinti. Is it when they have a move ball now? See how they are moving. There will be an average now. Look at where Lima walk. Luis Diaz and Listo oye that left winger no on na kwako gina closer to Marco Correa. So they were moving. So we a Chelsea defender who mark Hurricane wakwako jumbo box you cannot follow him unless you be follow now you call maybe a Caicedo who is also following Serge Gnabry. So Amuma marking was a very difficult for Chelsea. So here be a Pavlovic or no near central midfielder wakwako gina as a left back. Here be a line margin. So look at the Chelsea players. As a move follow Bayafono and Bayafono they did one touch 1-2 pa omu njina boss now wait to recover and Akwakwa is the second half no we were not aggressive enough. How your press is so aggressive against PSG, you know. Chelsea didn't do that and that ball no and they possessed the game 23 touches and then they Olise at the boss ball and they said now after this video virus of White Park into Sumami now mean how press here especially say 2 goals no. Yaba. This was how na ye press you. When they have the ball, Kimmich drop it to the base. Build up no. Similar to Roberto De Zerbi. But De Zerbi always only use a 4 base. Now one of the strikers and then a now drop it to form a box in the midfield. Now if we keep it in the wingers no wide. They kept Luis Diaz and Olise wide at the flanks. Inteneno Oma Pini Gusto. Oma also Pini Marco Correa. So what we are now, anytime we are only say Benya Bobby, only say was able to dribble past Cucurella one time. And you can put or train now Cucurella when the boy a quick 1-2 no the coins always be no or back Cucurella who be able to boy a quick 1-2. When to me I'm fat boy and fan so and always be no standing Sechiba they almost pinning Chelsea team no. Now this is how Chelsea so a press na a build up. One year build up almost press ye players no. Omim say Sanchez beka ho bi so Adarabio any Chaloba Gnabry any Kane omo Marcus no Pavlovic any Kimmich aba so high aba be fa Caicedo any so that half space is abeka here no make say Chelsea will do that yes against PSG so omo press here higher middle space no Joao Pedro will come and drop because our that footwork no Joao Pedro was the player who make the most dribbles on the pitch most successful
most passes
yes into here or the people deeper you will see Pavlovic and Kimmich going back aggressively together but no I'm found more and we yeah signing because you feel say referee no mind card so much so the players were so much reserved so that is how I'm pressing now goes now share apart from the penalty these two they saw how you press ye jibo ni bia ye de come Cucurella so ebasana Cucurella the ball come one of the players in midfield now virus in fact how no more press. This was the goal. May press. We not my highlight. They were making sure say pinning, especially into my highlight back on. Yes, this is more how I normal pressing. Into maybe a Hurricane on the line. We need to closer to Hurricane. That is toasting at the review. All flow ni maka. Now Gusto Afa Luis Diaz. But almost say standing such but Gusto afraid Chaluba say. Omababe double up so Chaluba is closer to Diaz. Should in case ball no call Gusto beko on the flanks then do be a toast nechi. Look at where Olise Suni Cucurella Neban. Look at Lima. If Omoba ball no tuma and then I think say Pedro Neto how or defend especially against PSG. He didn't do that especially for us. So there's a reason why Anamika said no this game no na a calling for Gittins and Garnacho. We needed 2 direct players because players no like man standing situation they came in inside and always if you know be no and no I was expecting James and no about 2 no as or quick short passes too much there were several instances long but yesterday he wasn't doing that so if Moneyman
passes 3
one was successful
yes
if Moneyman can blame me because Mimi say in our team anytime you can say the closest player to Toni Kroos in terms of long passes in a Premier football Enzo Fernandez you have these players now why improve it yes this was the ball I'm making how I'm pressing I'm pinning tight over the flanks same goal no share second goal na Hurricane so I'm pressing here I'm say 2 center backs no more player back there so Pavlovic and Kimmich I'll close down on our players and
so it was clearly a game where you needed a left footer
yes
so that you can have say right Cucurella will be confident and can cool na egba obetuma ball shot abana ama
we have a direct straight
Eddie Akko. So yeah, in game against PSG, he played a lot of long balls. Then the absence of Romeo Lavia. So in a game like this, you need a press resistor. Anka Rhys James the anka obebo easy way no. Lavia will take an initiative by dribbling and way unya BT bakwa. You are true. And okay, I don't know BT bakwa they go
the 2 times. But once you nyaba ku be kuma Gusto failed to control that ball.
Yeah.
That game, if it was Pedro Neto and over the right side, Kebitman created more chances from where Gusto was. And one thing is when Varus bet my Kesama man, I mean explain that there. When Omo press a deep say, no mu pinia.
Okay. It
was something they did very well. Omo pinia, oh Hurricane. Always be an Hurricane no a center in between 4 Chelsea players. Into the moment Omo intercepted ball in a quick ball to Hurricane. That was how Omunya penalty. There was one back picture be man. Oh yeah, the na kai said Eddie Hurricane to that sequence. So far as bit much check that sequence now. When only say J ball now or ball that ball called the 9 right to no Bubia say enko attacking space. And now Hurricane was there alone. I don't know J ball. The second ball like that, Omo pini Gusto. How Gusto yen, but Omo pini Gusto from the back. So Gusto didn't have any chance of Obebo Bonda Kwakuma Tosin. And right, send a Hurricane Jahona in between Chelsea 4 players, James, Caicedo, and the 2 center backs. Also, same opportunity other than the one or the chess I could say, Enra, I'm pressing him very much. And Chelsea, so when I'm pressing, we had ways and means, and you used to call Palmer a lot to or drifting no cheap players, but they no only want to about it. To me, I think say Palmer there and watch your more 3 center base, no more ball flanks, no more just 5 players in midfield.
Okay.
No more just 5 players in midfield. No, Palmer won 100 game for Chelsea, and then no share the 45th goal for Chelsea. Probably be Ababa one of the yes, this is what I'm making. Almost also penny right. Look at where Hurricane same as the first ball now. The share. Until the moment you're able to ball, he's in between 4 Chelsea players. Obia and fan then or 10 year. No, the ball so share. So to me,
Babo we should be a Chaluba Jina.
Yes,
now he will be a 2 season.
Yeah, press no. Yes, make it a ball.
There be any crab ball.
Yeah, the ball.
Or the ball ni ma Gusto no. Gusto had 3 touches. Still not Chaluba Jina.
There be not all. Angle.
I'm not pressing about wide. So you have to stay close to Gusto.
You see, now I was say. Or possible ni man Chaluba back na Chaluba here the sending
so the first touch
because that time no
was very bad.
Oma try there oma twena ya twena ba so the only thing I in players na ejina ko pama money we mu hia ye say ball ne be to aye the open space. I think that the principle na coach ne di ko mu was perfect. But the execution when we were on the
from
ball,
the individuals, no.
Yeah, they were all over the place. Because see, boy, Oman a back passer or clear ball now, or more diagonal, or ball trying to locate a Chelsea player and I am marking 1v1, and this is what a Chelsea wants. Say outfield players no more up top, maybe 1v1 situation. So the only say Chaluba be the bit my ball now out they are top. Bayern Munich for half of them. Then it will be 50-50 between whoever and a striker. No? But he tried to complicate things by passing the ball to the dangerous and one thing you say, Rhys James, look, it's our system we know. I was saying Romeo Lavia Amon, I was somewhere there.
Is he even by list to say, I'm blaming Rhys James?
No, I'm not blaming him, but
Gusto lose ball anywhere. No, I'm not doing them. Mammy from a 9 was so. That was what led to that ball now. Yes,
and see, Omo press no. I say it is something. If what try out when Omo yes are press, Omo press and 2 times. No, we didn't have that advantage. So they capitalize until my second half. It is something on Bessan's way. Yeah, you almost are smart. Also, I say Omo press Omo Jibo to grab. Here we are. Ejina, na Hurricane. Ojina 4 players into always be an Omo press yes and they also have advantage. Say yeah, young Monko box. You have a player there. Into to me. I think say inexperience affects us because 14 players per list 14 players out of the 23 players per and no more Champions League in middle. Okay. So to me inexperience affected Chelsea and also playing at Allianz Arena was going to be very difficult but overall we had moment now it's like killing game and same as any PSG game was same like this we didn't dominate the game entirely.
Yes.
But PSG chance of Munya we were able to stop them. and they stop him a moment and they take over and they turn muscle. It's the same thing now. In a moment, especially in the second half, Sanchez make it 3 important saves. And I think Sanchez always that's what
I'm surprised currently our back line he's the most top guy.
Oh yeah.
Unlike before.
Sanchez why improving so much is the same so Sanke Donnarumma Mona Yansuman always be but although people believe so only holds I think na Obaho Timothy Maga say a game as na Maresca can a gamer
they will learn from
it who said because especially in the Conference League we did several mistakes but in the boys these young lads in the Champions League the least mistake they will the better punish. Unlike the Conference League, you lose a lot of balls. Chaloba money, Tosi lose a lot of balls. Are still a lot of it. So to me, I think we had our chances in the but the kudos to Bayern Munich. Always, it's a very team. Chelsea embrace a bit my so now Omaba Chelsea 4 times. One of the teams are Omasha Chelsea more in the UEFA Champions League history.
Okay, now a Barcelona fan be saying Barcelona demano or no. So on your fan was say or train Barca. Game and a very good game. One thing about us when you say Newcastle, when they are playing at home, it doesn't matter the match. The supporters will always back them. And look, difficult to play. Very, very, very difficult to play. But the difference is that Barcelona has seen difficult venues in their history. They are aware. Omako Bernabeu, they know how Bernabeu is. Omako Signal Iduna Park. Omako, Giuseppe Meazza. They know what the atmosphere can do. Any idea there? But in terms of quality, in terms of team, money, a Champions League more. Obviously, you cannot compare Newcastle to a Barcelona. You expect Garcia better post Kunde, Gerard Martin. Any a year Kubasi ne Araujo and a bebo a year Chilo then Pedri a year Dion. To be honest, I would have loved say Mark Bernal. He's Barcelona player me pen as maybe I can't ask him before or cause a long injury. He has returned and he will be part of the squad. Brandt friend Rafinha, then Femi Lopez, solid player. He will be there. Rashford will play obviously because of say Omoba a year England, so the coach will want to give him an opportunity. Lewandowski and so Ebe Jenemo. Then Watermaid obviously will be an opportunity to start because without an out striker, who Newcastle struggling, so he will start Gordon, Brandt and Langa, Joelinton, Tonali, and Gumares. These are players who make Chabunya. And I'm expecting Gumares will get a yellow card today. Livramento, Ben, Shah, and a Trippier. Then a branch friend Pope. Yes, it is going to be the approach will be aggressive. He be very aggressive. Newcastle will be very aggressive. So it's a red card ever game we will not be surprised. As to say a match for that we are intelligent enough to give a pass to break a Barcelona line. No? It's another thing. Yes, you can say Tonali was idea no in pass and ma piano there. But sa passes no you need exceptional players number 10 for no. So he anka Kopama mo Kopama bi omo ebia Barella mo Nicola Barella mo any ade mutumi masa ade no be dada omo no maboa. I think say be because they can be hurt. Barca can be hurt. Especially with Elanga, the pace, no, any senior ball, man, he can take the ball and drive the ball. This is a match against Man United last season. Or Fabo, no, so that is some of the things they need to be worried about. Barca,
they will Barca society up in the team. I better compliment Newcastle because Newcastle for not ready. They will be aggressive. Movement to many ball now, more ball at their conference.
Yes,
Gordon,
pace,
Elanga. So Barca highline if. Omo dominating game na the moment Bruno Gumares Joelinton Mobenya ebe recover possession
they will send long ball. You expect say omo be body blocks.
Yes.
So game where yellow cards will be more
a lot of corners
more and I think say Barca win or draw for a basa nti yemobo os no so nafi yen sore so na 230 na so 230 na so na yen hwe nti meme de no me option me de ba ene Club Brugge and Monaco Club Brugge home no draw Copenhagen ne ba Leverkusen win no Copenhagen ne ba Leverkusen over 1.5 and Eintracht Frankfurt ne Galatasaray win Manchester City and Napoli Manchester City home win Newcastle ne Barcelona away win or draw and a Sporting CP ne Kirat Amati over 2.5 for sa game no.
Okay, me odds ni 10 odds MYBET.AFRICA. Copenhagen any Bayern Leverkusen win or draw 1.5. Newcastle any Barca win or draw 1.5. Sporting any Karamat and no Sporting win 1.5. And Manchester City and Napoli both team to score over 2.5. Monaco any Club Brugge and handicap of 2 to win. And Frankfurt any Galatasaray multi goals 1 to 3. Code no QTNY MYBET.AFRICA.
Yes, so my daily chops for games no 5.46 odds. So Club Brugge any AS Monaco game no over 8.5 corners. FC Copenhagen any Bayern Leverkusen over 1.5 goals in that game. Eintracht Frankfurt any Galatasaray game no over 8.5 corners in that game. Manchester City any SSC Napoli over 1.5 goals in that game. And then the Newcastle any FC Barcelona game no both teams to score. Code no FGNY on my bets.
All right. Iti nyame adoma otena ana enwumre enwumre me se bra na be wenam. Yes, na ntwinam pa anya easy. Anti bra na be wenam na ehwe eye Barca ne eye Newcastle game ni bi was in James Park. Yakram.